Hey guys, so in this video I'm going to talk more about hunters because for those of you out there who are new at it, um, it's kind of a difficult trade to understand. So to start out with, what does a hunter do? Hunters, spirit hunters, hunt spirits. Um, now, um, many hunters specialize in a specific type of spirit they'll deal with. Many hunters specialize in ghosts because they're a very common issue and, well, not very common, but they're a common issue and they're relatively easy to deal with. So yeah, lots of spirit, well, of ghost hunters out there. Not like the show or Paranormal State or anything else like that because that's not hunting, that's just half the job and barely enough at that. Anyway, Um, but yeah, there's also lots of different types of hunters out there. There are fiend hunters who hunt demons and demon-related spirits. There are fae hunters out there, although they're not too common anymore. Mostly old world. You'll find fae hunters. Old world is in Europe. Um, there's literally tons of different types of hunters. There's were hunters. Um, there's lots of different types of hunters. Most hunters tend to stick to ghosts and demons. And generally speaking, monster hunters are your really backwoodsy kind of guys. Not always, but they tend to be the kind of like buffest, scariest people you will ever meet. But hearts of gold. um, but yeah, so yeah, there's many different types of specialities for hunters. If you ever become a hunter, you get to pick your own speciality. Have fun with that. Just know that there's lots of other things out there besides what you hunt, so always be ready for everything. Um, all hunters just about have to deal with monsters in some way. Fey hunters have to deal with changelings and whatchamacallits, trolls. Um, demon hunters have to deal, or fiend hunters have to deal with imps, devourers, all kinds of fun stuff. Uh, you know, were hunters obviously have to deal with wares. There's lots of other types of monsters out there. I'm just not going to go into it. Anyway, but yeah, so that's just an important thing to know. Always be ready for those physical guys who are going to mess with your ish. Okay, so then now that we know what a hunter does and what kind of things hunters do, that sounds naughty. Um, next thing, how do hunters do it? So, for the most part, what a hunter deals with is a spiritual being. So, what is a spirit? A spirit is a being from another dimension who's contacting our physical plane and um, manifesting in some way to affect our world. Most spirits do this out of like a job. Like, a spirit has to defend a forest, so it defends the forest. Um, hunter's really going to mess with the spirit is doing what it's supposed to be doing, but a spirit that's not doing what it's supposed to be doing or is harming people in the process of what it's doing, that's what a hunter needs to deal with. Like, so, how do they deal with it? Um, to um, to every average human, spirits manifest as energy forms, and that is because of the way the dimensional dynamics work. Um, so these spirits can do things related to what they do. If it's a spirit of a human or a ghost, it'll affect those around it or the area around it, similar to how it died and its general properties of death. So, like, if it was someone who was shot to death, he can make bullet wounds appear on people. If it was somebody who drowned, they can cause them to drown etherically. No, it, they still drown with etheric water. It's very difficult. Etheric is the catch-all term for anything dimensionally kooky that doesn't totally take place in our reality, but sort of does. Like, it takes place in the in-between realm. Astral is completely on the other side. Um, so yeah, physical, etheric, astral. Etheric is the separating line. So, with that in mind, how do we deal with those things? We use salt, iron, and magic. Magic is the manipulation of the dimensional manifold, I guess is the best way to describe it. So, the manipulation of the etheric and parts of the astral, which are other dimensions, and salt and iron, and intelligence. Salt, as I've already told you, is a dimensional repellent, and iron is a dimensional grounder, which means that it basically sinks all dimensional energy. So yeah, that's how hunters deal with it, and that works for the most part. Other things require special techniques. Hunters also have to deal with physical entities, which can also be hurt by iron and salt. Also silver sometimes. But yeah, so hunters also have to find where these things are happening, and that's usually the funnest part of the job. Hear that? That was sarcasm. Anyway, so yeah, hunters also have to deal with humans who try to contact these entities and then cause the entities to do bad things as well, which we like to call witches, even though I know a ton of Wiccans out there who would hate me for saying that, and trust me, I understand. But anyway, um, so what more? Um, what aren't hunters? Okay, this is very, very important to me because I despise shows like Ghost Hunters and Paranormal State. Not that I don't like Paranormal State, because trust me, nothing is funnier than watching Chip Coffey go, you know, oh fuck, when Chip Coffey goes off on a spirit, I laugh. Anyway, but um, hunters do not go into a place and find out if it's haunted and then just leave or whatever. They don't use tons of scientific data to try and prove that ghosts exist. We know that ghosts exist. We know that spirits exist. So our job is to find the spirit that's in question or the monster that's in question and deal with it. It's not about finding out if it's real. We know that it's real. That's not the question. The question is how do we deal with it? So yeah, not that I've never dealt with anything, but you know what I'm saying. Hunter, it's always very important to understand that most of the time those paranormal shows are completely fake. They don't depict anything real. Spirits manifest, okay? Most of the time they appear as entities that you can see, and it's not really that much of a question. Other times they won't, but for the most part you're going to get what you get. Um, and that's where there's second sight, which you've probably heard about in other videos. But anyway, so on top of that, hunters are always on the move unless they found a place they like to stay because there's lots of activity. Hunters have lots of weapons, which is my favorite part of the job because I love me some weapons. Hunters don't make a lot of money because we gotta do this job and we can't do a ton of others. Um, and yeah, hunters are night birds because our job takes place mostly at night because sunlight tends to have a weird effect on some spirits. So yeah. Hunters do not consult with angels. We do not have special powers. We we're humans for the most part, and we do what we got to do. Many of us have different reasons to do it. For some, it's family. For others, it's you know personal adrenaline rush. um, for me, it's you guys out there, everyone out there. You're all my responsibility. But yeah, so that's hunting. Hope you like it. If you don't, you don't have to. But once you're in, it's very difficult to get out. Happy hunting, everyone.